From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
Back again. Live from the studio here at Simply Vegas. The greatest real estate company in the land. Welcome to another episode of The Power Move. I am your host, John Gafford. To the left of me, Colt, the Bulgarian mongoose. Amadan.
What's up,
we go
guys?
back to switching them up.
You want to switch them up? Are you tired of it?
No, it's not that it's tired because it's obviously apropos, but we need a second place.
We need a second one. All right, yeah, we can switch it.
We'll
That's
go third,
fine.
fourth,
That's fine.
fifth.
All right.
I might get a tattoo of that one day, guys.
Bulgarian mongoose.
Dude,
Yeah.
you know what's funny? I looked this weekend. I checked it out. And I was looking online. I'm like, can I Photoshop Colt's face onto a mongoose's face and then just put a Bulgarian flag behind it?
Yeah.
And then we could like sell T-shirts. Because I don't know.
Somebody already did.
Listen, all I know is we'd sell one because I would buy one of those T-shirts with Colt's face. Two.
I have 2 kids and a wife that's 5.
Yeah.
With the Bulgarian. Yeah, there you go.
Every
With the
client of mine's getting it. That's a thank you gift.
That's it. The Bulgarian
Thank you for the
mongoose.
Bulgarian mongoose.
That's
Can you
it.
imagine?
Are you even Bulgarian?
No, no, not at all. He's more mongoose than he is Bulgarian. We'll just leave it at that.
Scottish luchador or something. Right?
For sure, exactly right. Real quick, I got to get some, housekeeping stuff out of order. If you haven't done this, guys, apparently, I was talking to somebody and they said that I have to get 500 5-star reviews. We collectively need 500 5-star reviews on iTunes or wherever before we can get some of the guests that I want to get. Because they're like, well, that's how they go by, how the show's ranking. So if you're listening to us, do me a favor, take 1 second, give us that 5-star review wherever you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or if you're watching us on YouTube. Remember, we don't make anything for this. This is strictly because I'm trying to bring some great knowledge to you guys, and I appreciate all of the help you give us doing that. So make sure you hit that up straight away.
5 estrellas para las personas en español.
Por favor.
Por favor.
Por favor, 5 estrellas
Whatever it is.
para las personas español.
As we go. No, I'm not gonna lie, guys. We're gonna try to keep the show entertaining and light today, but man, there's some madness in the world. I felt compelled to talk about it, but I want to talk about it in the context of not so much the black or white of it, but the greater effect of it. And I mean, obviously, one of the things that we are blessed with on this show is, Chris, you are an attorney. I mean, one of the things I love. So there is a rough, loose understanding of the law. I like to believe.
Generalist in some topics, very, very, very specifically strong in others.
Strong in others.
Any good attorney should be.
I get that question all the
exactly.
time. Hey, do you do divorce? It's like, not a chance. I can tell you about 3 things about it.
Yeah.
But
No, I have before, but I mean, she got half, and I've got a much better
Didn't
wife,
go
but that's
good,
it. Yeah, I mean, and but yeah, dude, just some great things in the world today. So today on the show, we're going to talk about, how we interpret that has a domino effect, or what I would like to see happen. I would like to also talk about, it seems like every day you turn on the news, man, and there's stuff that's coming down, and it's a lot. And we're so plugged into our phones now. We're so plugged into the 24-hour news cycle. I also want to talk about how to deal with some of that stuff, man, and how to keep your mind straight, how to keep your mind focused, how to do that, and go from there. So obviously,
we've never done the 7 habits.
no, we haven't done the 7 habits, but we'll do it. We're not going to do it today, but we'll do another day because
planting seeds here.
planting seeds good. I have another one that I actually read that I thought was really good, and it's called Stolen Focus, and it was about how the world is designed to steal our focus and what you can do to get it back, which I think is good. But speaking of things that are stolen or gone, obviously the Supreme Court did what they did this week and overturned a 50-year-old precedent. And obviously there's a lot of strong feelings and a lot of chain reaction that happened from that based on some of the trigger laws that ran through some of the southern states. And I wanted to talk about that, but again, like I said, not so much the issue itself, but the effect and the ramification of how it goes. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think about it, and then we'll go from there. And I think that Dave Portnoy, came on, and if you didn't see this, he got smashed for it, but I thought it was interesting. Dave Portnoy basically came on and said he's sick of politics being one or the other, A or B, and all of these different divisive things have got to be either A or B.
The seesaw
of what it is. Because here's effectively what's happening, right? Now, and I know you disagree with some of this, and you're welcome to disagree with it later, Chris, but, and I believe that, being fiscally conservative in this country is the right way to go. I believe giving people opportunity, but not necessarily getting outcome is the way to go.
Totally
I'm guaranteeing
agree.
that.
Yeah,
I agree with
100%.
100%. I think that general idea of that concept is currently attached to one party more than the other. Whether they perform on that or the other, I know, look at you already laughing, but whether they perform on it or not, I firmly believe that idea is somehow the moral high ground of the Republican Party.
Yes.
I think they ride. Now, again, I'm not talking about whether they execute.
It's their catchphrase.
I'm talking about.
It's what they're known for. Definitely
Yes.
far more. No, if you were to ask people, you were to take a poll, 80% of people you polled say, which party would you think considers themselves the party of fiscal responsibility?
Yes.
And I would say that 80% of people would say Republican.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And I think that has only grown as you start to have more quote unquote self-described democratic socialists moving into the other party. You have, people that want to reappropriate wealth. You have people that want to take from the rich and give to everyone. You think everything should be free for everyone, which is great. And I think it was Margaret Thatcher said the worst problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money.
Right.
I think that was Thatcher that said that, I believe. If it wasn't, then forgive me.
Whoever. We can edit
Whoever
that
it was.
out.
Yeah. Colt,
I believe it was
check that out.
Charles Dickens.
Exactly. Well, it's like, you can't believe everything off the internet said Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln.
There
Famous quote of his.
Famous quote of his.
At his time at Dave & Buster's.
Famous quote. But to get back to Portnoy. So Portnoy said, I think the majority of the people in this country want to be fiscally conservative with our money. They'd like to see a balanced budget. They'd 100%. Like to see taxes cut. But also they can be pro-life. And the problem with this is, and what I pro-choice. And what I think I would like to, and he got smashed for it.
Right.
Like all of the talking heads on Fox News that he was the darling and they always wanted him on my show. It turned out this guy's a yutz, this guy's a putz, he's an idiot, because they're placating to their base, which is pro-life. And I think what I would love to see from this issue, right? And we're going to get into the semantics of what it causes and the domino of all that, but what I would love to see is I would love to see a bunch of Democrats stand up and say, I'm all for this.
All for what?
All for it being overturned. And it doesn't have to be a bunch, just a few. And I would love to see some Republicans stand up and say, you know what? I think this was wrong. Because the problem is we have become so dependent on this two-party system, which is really, this is the problem, guys. We need to get away from, this is the problem with America. This two-party system is the problem.
So I think you're going to be correct in a lot of ways on that, but not this issue. You will never, that is not a matter of Democrat, Republican, no, because what happens is,
but it is. It's going on the ballot right now
right. But no Democrat state, it's going to be an issue for Democratic states, blue states won't implement it. This isn't going to affect anyone in Democratic states.
Yeah.
The irony of that is that it won't affect California or New York or the most left-wing places. It's not going to change a thing.
Yeah.
What it does is it limits health choices and how those are performed in red states.
Well, again, this is, you're talking
why
about
would a Democrat
but
say
you're talking about
good?
You're talking about the semantics of what it actually is.
Yeah, I love to see that bipartisanship.
But the problem is, like, for example, you've got the president of the United States, a lifelong Catholic,
right,
a lifelong Catholic, and he's standing on the stage saying, I think that this is a woman should have the right to choose, which I think down deep, if he really is a devout Catholic, as most Catholics are pro-life, I think it's a complete contradiction of what he says, but he has to toe the party line.
55% of Catholics are against the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I'm not talking about that.
But it's not anymore a Catholic issue. It's what type of Catholic are you? There's like Shiite Catholics out there.
That's a good point.
So most Catholics are like, that's between you and your maker. The Bible has a mention of abortion. Let's just call it what it is. Like 167 times. There's nothing in the Bible that actually says anything about killing babies other than let's do it from time to time.
Yeah. Well,
it is not a Catholic issue. So to your point, he's a lifelong Catholic. He probably grew up with a Catholicism that said don't do this.
But he also at one point in his career vocally said these are my beliefs.
Again, I have my own problems with Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, and all these people are against the thing until it becomes politically popular. Then they're
the other way.
Okay.
So I believe in certain things with issues, but every time people believe in a politician, they're full of shit, because that politician 2 weeks ago would have sold his mother down the river if everybody thought it was a great idea.
Well, I was going to say, but you didn't let me get to the flip side of the coin. The flip side of the coin was, you're telling me that Trump hasn't paid for some abortions on some Ukrainian models that he's banging in the back room. I mean, you're telling me that never happened? Come on.
What happened when Trump started telling people to take vaccines?
Yeah.
They turned on him immediately.
Yeah.
They were, oh, this Trump guy doesn't know what he's talking about. 2 weeks ago, he was a savior, literally by the grace of God, the third hand of Jesus. He says, hey, guys, it turns out that the evidence says we should take a vaccine to prevent this coronavirus. We have a lot of information on it. We've been studying microviruses for 80 years. Yeah. It turns out that this vaccine has a whole lot of ways of preventing death, and, it decreases comorbidities, et cetera. Who does this guy think he is? He's crazy. Get him out of here. The minute you change, just like you said, Fox News and Dave Portnoy, the minute you go against that tide, you are now the enemy. It's not, there's no moderation. It's not modulated by anything. It's just extreme whipsawing reactions to, that guy's against what I have to. You and I are great at this. There's a million things we agree on, a handful of things we probably don't. But I don't sit there when you say something and say, that's it, fuck you, John. You're crazy for thinking this thing. I go, yeah, that's a point of view. How did you get there? Are we looking at the same information?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like we're not including Colt enough in the conversation.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I'm going to bring something. I'm going to bring something up you do want to talk about.
I have many great jokes in my head that would get us canceled right now.
I don't know if you saw this.
I'm keeping.
But this is you're going to get an "I told you so" moment right here. You're going to get one. Did you see that Tom Hanks went ham on some dude that was harassing his wife? No. Like cussed him out and was trying to push him? Yeah.
Well, Tom Hanks just got a little notch in his belt on.
I like. You're for that?
I'm for
I thought you were going to be like, "See, I told you, America, you've been duped. This is the real Tom Hanks. This is the real guy." And now I thought you were going to be like, "I told you so."
I have so many jokes I want to say right now, and I can't.
Colt,
guys.
just
I can't.
unload.
Let it go, Colt. Unload double barrel. Double barrel.
No, I think that Tom Hanks probably just showed that he's a little bit of a man. See, I told you guys. Fucking God, he's.
See, even Colt can change his mind, America.
Yeah,
I haven't changed his mind. You're going to find out he still has
Colt
bodies in the backyard.
Can modulate his opinion.
Well, I will tell you this. I am going to do this because I think this is the right thing to do. And because again, I think the problem here is the two-party system. Yes. I'm going to register. I'm going to change my registration from Republican to Independent.
I changed mine from Democrat to Independent
because I don't want to have to pick everything that's on this side of the fence. I don't want to have to pick. I want to be able to vote for a human being that has ideas in their head and aren't just, what do I have to say to get the money and get the support of these people?
I think because a lot of people are into that.
Well, because here's the problem. The more fringy that it gets, the more you have to placate to the fringes, man. Right. And
John, that you bring up such an amazingly good point, and it drives me crazy. Here's why. I think that the Democrats probably, if you were to take in toto the things that people care about the most, if they had a marketing department that wasn't a bunch of blind chimpanzees smashing away at typewriters, could probably win 75% of the votes if they could market their positions properly. And here's why. The majority of things that benefit the ultra wealthy, right? Those tend to be Republican. Mm-hmm. Look at the 222 Republican votes against the gas gouging bill, the veterans bill, the education bill. Every single one of those bills that talks about promoting the middle class are voted down by Republicans.
Well, hang on a second. See, I have a problem with that too. Because I have a problem with that logic. Yeah. What else is in the bill? Yeah. I totally agree. This is why pigs have constitutional rights in the state of Florida.
I get it.
Because it was slipped in on the back end of a bill.
So that's a huge problem with the political system. But let's just keep going for a second. Because the minute it's Roe v. Wade, then it switches. Doesn't matter what else is in the bill. Yeah. They're putting it through. Mm-hmm. Because the Republicans are better at marketing a position. And that comes down to this. The party of fiscal responsibility is the party that in general terms across the last 70 years is the party that spends the most, increases the deficit the most, has some of the highest tax raises. Under Reagan, it wasn't like this big tax holiday.
This Canadian. That's America right there. No. That's America. That's what we do, Chris. That's what we do.
Hold on. He's going to start hating on fighter jets next. Even though he went and saw Maverick, he saw it.
Love it.
Is that not a great movie?
Every different era.
Like Tom Cruise, but that's
every different era has its challenges, right? George Bush inherited after 9/11 There's going to be some issues, right? That you can't say, or you can't compare. It's not apples to apples across all. But what you can say is this. On average, Republicans will increase the debt larger than Democrats. Do Democrats run as the party of fiscal responsibility? No. They don't have anyone in their marketing department that says, hey, what we should do is show facts, total, clean, data-driven evidence about Bill Clinton balanced the budget perfectly. Now, whether or not that was his, like he did something amazing for that is irrelevant. I don't think Bill Clinton was striking bills and drove 300 million people to do a certain thing. It's just nonsense. But how it looks, the optics of that are that, wow, what an amazing party, what an amazing job he did to balance the budget, right? They don't use that in their marketing department. What they do is they have Kamala Harris up there saying, Kamala Harris, she, her. Like anyone didn't know that she holds herself out as a woman, right? So what you do as a marketing department, you find where can I take from them and set the line there? Where can I take a moderate Republican? The guy who's going, just stop taxing me to death. I don't want you to steal my money. You go, okay, let's market purely to their left. Because are you going to be a blue-haired person screaming about Zims or Zem? No. And then you're going to go out and vote for Trump, though? You may not vote, but you're not going to vote for Trump.
Well, we all know Biden won based purely on people's hatred for Trump, not because of the love of Joe Biden.
Why didn't they go that step further? Market, because again, more people.
Because they didn't have a marketable candidate.
Because they're shitty at marketing.
Because they had no choice but to
they
market
don't know their own shot.
Against.
They're self-absorbed politicians, and all they care about.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is, what my first thought when I saw this come down was, and again, I'm not a woman, so, it's hard for me to have, it's one thing to be supportive of your spouse or women in general, but I mean, I think as a man, just like saying that men have the right to dictate this or not dictate this, I don't think we're ever in a position where we really can have an opinion on this, because I'll never be in that situation.
I'm fine with opting out.
I'll never be in that situation.
So I'll defer to you.
Right? Yeah. So I'll defer to you, whatever. But the first thing I thought when I thought this was all of the Democrat politicians that were outraged on TV. In the back of their mind, they're going, "Oh, thank you, God! Thank God this happened," because they were dead into the midterms.
I see.
Because my point is, I don't remember who remember what it was. I don't remember who I saw that said this, but somebody said, "Look, politicians have one objective: to get elected, and that's it. And everything else
raise
is
money,
manageable, right?
So they can win.
To win. That's it. That's the only objective in a politician's mind. So I think, in a weird sort of way, the Republicans win this battle.
It's going to perversely help.
And go, shit, we won. And all the Democrats are like, this is an outrage. Oh, thank God this happened.
I think Trump came out and said this was probably the worst thing that happened to my 2024 possible return.
Oh, he's done. Yeah. Well, I think those hearings haven't been that good.
So tell me what you guys think about this. You want to talk about three white guys talking about something that may
that's not
trigger warning. This is going to piss off half of the audience if half the audience are made of women.
Oh boy.
No. I had this conversation. It was I tried to be very.
That's why I'm 18 minutes into this not saying nothing.
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure your overall sexiness level can.
That's what brings the women in.
It brings it in anyway. They don't care.
You know what I mean? Like,
so I really want to hear what you think about this from a philosophical point of view.
Okay.
Not no anger, no heated. This isn't coming from a place of misogyny or disregarding the prominence and the power of the patriarchy, okay? Alliteration aside.
Got it.
I had a conversation with a woman, and I said, at what point are women going to hold women responsible? It's easy. No, hold on. Here's
Colt is actually shrinking.
No. I mean that from a place of love.
He's going to climb under the desk.
I mean that. This is
I got to see where this is going.
Strictly from a place of love. I look, if I was a woman, I'd say there's been 46 presidents.
Real quick. I have a more important question. Can they, once you give us a 5-star review, can you reverse the 5? Can you go back? It just once it's done, it's done.
So,
can you change it? I don't think you can change it.
This is an important thing to talk about.
Go ahead. Okay.
There's been 46 male presidents, 45 white male presidents.
Yep.
At no point, if I was a woman, would I go, hey, wait a minute, why am I not being represented ever at the highest levels of politics? We make 51% of the population. Find me any other instance where the majority is subjected to the will of the minority across the entire period of history of a nation. Now, yes, it's because women are subjugated and there's a patriarchy and they weren't valued and they were held back in a million ways. There are more women in law school and med school than there are now men. women have done a lot to increase their power with the assistance of men, because men recognize that holding women back is morally and economically and financially corrupted.
Sure.
Corrupted. But women need men to help out, right? Because they're the ones in power making laws. Except when it comes to voting. A woman goes into a voting booth as an autonomous adult and she makes a selection. Every time she goes in there and votes against her own interests, if I was a woman, I would say, hey, we got to stop doing this. We got to stop voting against our own interests and make that a very public campaign to try to bolster women's empowerment so that they do look at themselves as the majority, and they should be the ones making all the decisions in this country in the voting booth, at least until
again. Is
that an unfair statement?
No. Well, again, I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier, which is if you give me a strong woman that runs independently of the two parties. I mean, dude, this is the day of the internet. I mean, I think you can probably do pretty well in these day and ages without having the giant machine behind you.
Sure.
If you can just get on the stage.
No, I don't think so.
Locally.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I say that, but dude, I look at it this way.
AOC got in, and she's a young woman.
Yeah, and dude, she is not who I'm talking about. Let's be very clear.
She's a young woman
She's not who I'm talking about.
Well, she did though empower herself as a young woman who typically doesn't fit the mold, and she won.
Well, which I think that says a lot about our constituents.
Well, I'm just saying.
The reason we haven't had a woman in politics, right, is because it's kind of like a shadow market. You know, it's a president, I should say, because we're still going off of the last, 20 years was. 20 years ago, women were not equally where they're at now. So in 10 years, it's going to be completely different. I guarantee we have a woman president in the next 3 elections.
Oh, I think that's fair to say, but I just don't want to. I would rather see somebody run independently and not be beholden to either party.
The problem is you're not going to get that independent. Like, I truly thought that was a great thing when Trump won, because I thought that would really push a third party kind of independent look on on presidency. And it didn't. It just, he played into the whole let's go now, get reelected and stuff like that. And I think if you could get everybody together and they said, yeah, I'll go independent, I think there's so many people. I think all 3 of us would go, right? And I think there's a lot of that. The problem is when you get into, I know, but the problem when you go to the voting and you see a Republican, Democrat, and independent president, you're not going to vote the independent president
because
you think
it's libertarian.
Not
yet. And I think that's where it might go.
I think here's the deal too. I think
because you think your vote's
wasted. But I think this. I mean, I think you got to understand that. I think it's almost getting to a point where I don't understand if you're the average person. Right. I look at like the success that Trump had. And again, this isn't a shot at Trump. It's a shot at the system. Right. So if you love Trump, don't be like, oh man, it's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you were an average Joe that gave money to Trump for that election deal, thinking that your interests were going to be
right,
you're an idiot.
That's exactly.
Stop giving money to either party. It does not work. If you're donating money to somebody that says they're a Democrat, you're an idiot. If you're donating money to identify as a Republican, you're an idiot because you're just feeding.
Corporations are doing both.
They're doing both, and you're just feeding the fringes.
MGM
is all you're feeding.
Back and forth.
But they give to both. Every single. Go look up corporate donors. You'll see
they give everybody.
Monsanto Democrat, Monsanto Republican. You'll see Tesla Democrat, Tesla Republican.
Because they get advice.
You got to make
cover
sure
their own bases because they
Yeah.
have their own interests. And like I'm saying, so take the argument of unions. Okay, I'm not a union guy. I think that if employers treat their employees well, you don't have to worry about unions. Unions are actually dead weight loss if your conditions aren't abhorrent, right? Or people should be able to free to leave.
Unions are from that guy's walking on steel beams in New York, falling off to their death with no protection.
I think they had their place. I don't see the prominence in the value in them now because I worked for unions and they just took money and didn't do anything. Yeah. Then unions started worrying about their own power within the union. So it's a human nature problem, right? But I do understand when workers get together and say, hey, we're the units of labor. There's capital and labor, and you need both. I want my unit of labor to be recognized as having a certain amount of power. I understand that. Now, that's not my life. I went out and did my own thing because,
but you can't take a bunch of janitors and expect them to be able to unionize like you could as a person, right? And like you just said, the average person, well, sometimes the average person's dumbasses. But
the average person, or even when they're
common
dumb,
sense, or like we give people too much credit. People sit there and watch the news and believe that that's the truth, right? people truly fall into this, Trump's God and
Trump has my interest in my
and
that's
Bernie
what I'm saying.
Sanders
Dude,
was awesome. He wanted to pay for my stuff. Like, people believe that when they don't realize they don't give a shit.
Well,
they don't give a shit.
Well, again, and not to say this, but I think it's fair to say that, and I thought about this during Roe versus Wade too, which is you talk about all of the, in most of the states that banned it completely are southern states, where in some of them, especially, education levels are very low. So part of me back again thinking Democrats are on TV being outraged about it. They're thinking that's a whole crop of voters that's coming up. Because they're going to be, you're going to be bringing a whole bunch of new people that are probably going to be low educated.
Yeah, and don't have access to health.
Don't have access to healthcare, and are going to be completely dependent on the system.
Right.
And if they ever decide to vote, they're probably going to vote Democrat.
Like I said, that falls into my exact point before. If you go down the line and you say, whose interests can we placate to?
Yeah.
Because most people aren't millionaires. If you have policies,
Wait, they're not?
I know.
Colt,
Shocking.
have you heard this?
So most people aren't millionaires. So when you
Except
make
for that
policies
Tom Hanks,
that appeal
that
that
fucker's
appeal
worth
to
a lot.
millionaires, you're cutting down the amount of population. The problem is a lot of people
We'll
say,
vote for that, though.
Yeah, they'll vote for it. Say,
because
well,
they
when
want,
I become,
want millionaire.
when I become
Yep,
rich,
yep.
if people had a valid understanding of what they're probably going to end up looking like in retirement,
Yeah.
they wouldn't vote for things that give
Millionaires.
$10 million in lifetime or $5 million in Revivos transfers of wealth as gift exchanges. You'd be like, no, fuck that guy. I'm not inheriting $8 million. Right?
No.
So what do I give a shit about some guy who wants to protect the guy who's transferring in Revivos gift transfers for $8 million? Fuck that guy. No, tax it all.
Yeah.
Tax the rich, right?
Yeah.
If you could sell that better to people and show them how it benefits them more than, hey, we won't come in and tell your boys that they're girls or whatever.
This gets back to the Republicans
shadow
being better at
organism.
marketing, because what you're talking about is the death tax.
Right.
You get taxed by the Democrats when you die.
So they spin that
That's
very
what I'm saying.
well.
That's better marketing department.
and guy over here who's got not even close to any amount that will ever be taxed ever.
Ain't taxing me when I die, buddy.
I don't want my estate taxed. It's like it didn't affect you, but they're so bad at getting their message out.
Do you think
or the
that's-
facts out. They're so up their own ass.
But do you think that's a politic issue, or do you think that's an American issue? Do you think that Americans should be more educated in what they're voting for? Because I think they should. I think that we throw way too much stuff out there, that people, they just hear what that person's paying somebody $100,000 put a campaign ad together. And that's what they hear is 16 seconds and bam, or 30 seconds. And like the greatest thing, again, the great day for Roe versus Wade, just like the 9/11, right? No, but the good thing is hopefully people realize your midterms are very important. What you vote for state, locally, is way more important than what you vote for as a president. And I've always said that, and maybe this wakes up because now this is a state thing, right? This is a state issue of who you've been voting for, which is ridiculous when you have millions of people coming out for voting for a president, and when it comes up to commissioners or mayors or state stuff, you have a third of the people at best show up. I mean, that's what hopefully this will. The only positive will come out of this is hopefully people will start.
Yeah, but you look at
paying attention.
So I was in Belfast in Northern Ireland.
Did you know that's where it was?
Did you say I don't know where that's at?
Yeah.
Belfast.
Well, he said it like it was like something everybody knows.
Belfast. Oh no, you said. I thought you meant like you don't in general know where Belfast is.
I think he meant that, John.
No, that's what I've never heard of Belfast.
It's in Northern Ireland.
It's in Northern Ireland.
I'm sorry, I don't have all my providence of
I
fucking
thought you were
Ireland.
Northern
kidding,
Ireland.
sorry.
For the first time ever.
Did you know where it was?
Yes, of course I know where
What's famous
Belfast
out of-
is.
a movie?
The IRA,
The Irish Republican Army,
history,
all the wars.
Yes,
all
I
the-
mean, yeah.
Okay.
it's a part of UK technically.
Yeah.
It's the part that Britain was in. And
If you would have
You two used to bitch about it all the time.
Guess what?
There was a
U2's
little
the worst
border and
fucking band out there.
So I will 100%
You
agree
two
with that.
should.
Yeah.
Oh
U2?
my god.
100%.
You two
No.
Dog shit.
dog shit.
Okay,
Couple good songs. a whole lot of
dog.
not worth it.
pre 95.
Pretty good.
No, horrible.
band.
Name one good
Pretty
song.
good.
Zero.
Name one
You
good
lose.
song.
You like Boy War. Great.
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 A lot of it was pretty good.
I will follow.
no,
Come on,
no.
dude.
Wonderful.
Top 5 favorite songs ever. Any band I will follow.
Yeah,
by
when they
you too.
sounded like Joy Division, I liked them. But anyway, the point, I was at Belfast, and I'm sitting in a pub, as I'm wont to do when I'm traveling by myself and talking to locals. Every single person was politically astute because Sinn Féin just won. And for those who don't care or know, Sinn Féin is a Unitarian party because the Northern Irish, there's a huge segment of them that would like to unify with the South Irish, the South, like Ireland. But Dublin is like a wealthier place than Belfast. It's traditionally poorer. So take them in would be like California taking in Kentucky or something, you know, but they're both like, hey, we're all Americans here. Like, take us in, right?
Chris?
You know, we should be unified as Ireland against the British who just left with Brexit. So they're very politically active people. Every single person in that bar, young guys, old guys, they were all aware of what was going on in their country and in their city and in their state. We in America have this thing. It's impolite to talk about politics. And we have a lot of politically ignorant
media,
people.
Though? Do you think that it's the way their media
I was watching
is?
TV and they were breaking down Sinn Féin. And I'm like,
There you go. See, our media doesn't do that. They treat you like dumbasses, which unfortunately a lot of us are.
they feed your interests here.
But the news is no longer a public service.
That's right.
The news is a business. It's a business.
So the BBC over there or the Irish, whatever,
BBC
they're
is the
just
only
giving
news I
facts.
listen to.
Not a single thing I heard would make me say I prefer one to the other.
I like the BBC. I take it all the news from
BBC.
BBC.
Love
I
that
bet you guys do.
AP, but oh my god! But what I'm saying is this: when people are politically literate, people become more. I know.
So stupid.
When people are politically literate, you have a lower chance of being able to manipulate them politically into doing what you want to do for your reasons.
100%.
The more politically active you are and astute, if we had civics, more participation in civics at a young age, I know your boy run for president. He understands, hey, this is a process.
Yeah.
A lot of kids will never get that experience.
Yeah. But I think though, for me, like for example, right now I keep getting all these, and maybe I'm just so jaded right now in politics because of all this shit.
Of course
I'm just so jaded.
I think everybody
because
is.
I don't see. I look at every single politician right now, all of them, top to bottom, as you are in nothing but this, but for vanity.
Yep.
It's strictly self-serving vanity. You're not, because if you were really if they were really in it for serving the people, there'd be term limits. They would all vote for term limits. Yeah. So my point is this, right? My point is this, is in my humble opinion, and when I'm king, and God willing, one day that'll happen. But we need a couple things to solve the problems we're having. Like I understand everybody's outraged about this one particular thing, the Roe versus Wade, but I'm saying zoom out. That's what I'm saying. Zoom way out and let's look a little better, right? Problem number one. And I'm going to ask you through, I'm going to walk you through these with you went to law school, so we're going to assume you're some sort of an expert. Whereas my constitutional experience comes from Schoolhouse Rock, which, I saw the bill. I saw him go up there. I saw it. So here's my first problem, right? How do we get Congress to limit the size and items of bills so the debate becomes smaller, they become more concise and more on the actual issue at hand, and they're not 980 pages of nonsense that nobody reads, that has everybody's pet project squeezed into it. How do we change that? Because I saw Schoolhouse Rock, and that bill was like 2 pounds. He ain't the 300 pounder that's going through there.
That's such an interesting. That is a really interesting point, and that's not a law school. It's actually political science issue.
Yeah.
And in political science, you study that these things, these pork, we call it pork, right? You throw pork in. Yeah,
of course.
It's always pork. What you can do is have far more of a democracy instead of a representative oligarchy. What we live in is not a democracy.
It's a republic.
It's a representative oligarchy. You have X amount of people that go sit at the head of the table who are allegedly representing their constituents, but they don't have to vote as they want.
Yeah, it's a republic.
Right? Cinema and Manchin and those guys, they vote how they feel. Right? They're not representing you. Because if it was a democracy, you would vote on the issue.
Or they're voting whatever's going to get them elected again next time.
Right. And again, so it doesn't matter. You voted 95% of people, and I'm going to vote this way because I like this one. It's my project. You could have it so that those bills, right, you have the text of the bill and the fat, right, of all this stuff of how it's actually transpired. That's not that big. I see a lot of administrative orders and bills get through like that. It's 6, 7, 8 pages for really intensive bills about stuff. Those get passed easily. You have to break them apart. Those have to be broken apart individual issues, and you can vote on them individually. There's no reason not to do that.
Yeah, there's
a political tradition.
Yeah,
to pack them all in there, but there's zero constitutional requirement for that.
That is what is causing the total shutdown and grind down of Congress. This is why they can't work with us.
Wow.
It's very rarely on the issue at hand. It's on all the bullshit that's getting jammed in there.
I don't know
how
recently.
I think it's absolutely true.
I think that's the red herring that gets thrown out there. Well, there was this thing I didn't like. If you look at the main thing in the bill, though,
but that's the point.
Party line.
Yeah, but you're
the point.
The point
is
something that's not even related. It's like, hey, we should have this factory back online, and we need to get this for breast milk, and we got to get all this, but we're going to throw in this
kill
little,
all the realtors.
Kill something, right? Like it's the most random, not even related. Like it needs to be related to everything, and it should be one bill and one bill.
But there are bills that get like that, and they're still voted across on party lines strictly.
Right, but I would, see, here's the difference. The difference is, again, going back to my second point, which is how do we get rid of the two-party system, which I think is a fucking necessity.
I'll tell you that right now.
Let me have it.
Human empathy. Absolutely. The only reason it's a fuck you, this party, that party, is because there's no cross-germinating empathy. There's none. Absolutely none. There's not a single Republican that sits there and go, now, there used to be. You used to have these cross-aisle issues, right? How do my constituents want? I empathize with where you're going. When Roe v. Wade was decided, that bench wasn't like a 9-0 democratically appointed Supreme Court. That was justices looking at it and going, okay, we're not going to politicize this. This is going to be an empathetic decision because this is about poor women having access to health care. The minute that empathy started to go away, the minute that it's a fuck you, you look at a Trump rally, ask them how they feel about Hillary Clinton. It's never like, hey, I don't like her. It's extremism. It's I hate her. Because that concept of empathy, of me being able to say to you, John, okay, you have this opinion. Tell me why. Like, what is it, right? There's a total lack of empathy right now in American politics. It is at zero. It's not
in politics.
That's everything.
You're watching
bleeds into everything.
Yeah, but you're watching it, and it comes through everything, right? Like, it comes through social media influencers. Like, fuck them, kill this negotiation and this. Like, you got a bunch of like, I hate to say this, but fuck, 80% of social media business people, they don't know what the fuck they're even talking about. Like, we had one where John's like, check this out, we won't say who it is, but he couldn't even tell you what a cap rate was, and he's some guy making a lot of money off of real estate influencer. You couldn't tell me something that's very first thing I teach the basic investor.
Have you seen these things, what we call left book? The left-wing Facebook?
No.
They're like, kill all the landlords. Landlords are evil. There's no reason you should ever have more than one property. Like, and I go, do any of you have any understanding of literally how
the world works?
Anything works other than just money?
No, they're just sick of paying rent to somebody else.
But that's what I'm saying. There's no empathy. There's no, hey, it's this person's property. Why do I feel like I should have their property? All right. And I'm not standing for, a brutal capitalist. At the end of the day, you look at it and go, we're all living a life, right? That is just, most people don't see themselves as evil. Most people see themselves as virtuous. It's interesting that 50% of people think this 50% of people are evil and vice versa, right? At the end of the day, a little bit of empathy where you can go, hey, I'm going to cross the line on this issue because I'm not going to just stick to party lines because I think that it's probably a good idea to have austerity measures.
Exactly.
The only way you do that is make it that we've talked about this, give politicians X amount of years there and X amount of dollars.
Totally.
You can't make more, you can't make less. Bam, get out. And then they will, because then they're not worried about, I mean, God, man, I went to a political fundraiser like 4 months ago and the guy kept trying to talk to me. I'm like, Jesus, I'm talking to a fucking robot that doesn't give a shit about anything. I'm like, I just kept walking away. I'm like, and he kept coming to me. I'm like, stop fucking talking to me, man. Like, I'm annoyed by you.
I would say, again, like I said, step one, if you're an average Joe, which I mean most of us are, I would consider myself an average Joe, whatever. Stop giving money to political. Yeah. Stop. Just, it's not helping.
No,
it's not. Your money is doing nothing but making politicians richer. Stop. Yeah. Just stop. I think it's nonsense.
No kidding.
I just think it's complete and total nonsense.
Can we talk about business people actually having
So
business
what? Business people.
people.
The guy was he's a commercial investor. He didn't
No, it's an
he's an
influencer guy
real
that
estate
talks about
influencer.
real estate stuff, and he didn't
understand.
Somebody
the
kept
concept
going.
of
understand the
capitalism.
concept
Somebody
of a cap
goes,
rate.
tell me what a cap rate is, and he kept trying to like skirt around it. He's like,
Oh,
no, tell me.
like-
It's like this.
didn't
So there's
know.
nice
But,
hats.
there's
and
people like that, but if you're a business person, I've watched so many people lose money this weekend on social media.
yeah.
Just posting what their feelings are about it, getting angry, getting mad. I've deleted yelling at people.
That's the purpose of this, man. Is not look. If you're a woman and you are outraged by this, that's fine. I don't think. Again, I think call me. I'm 50 now. Call me an old white guy. I don't have any business having anything to do with this. Right? That's my opinion.
Totally fair.
But I understand. The system being broken that caused this to happen in the first place.
Totally fair.
And I'd rather zoom out and focus on the system because if it broke this, it's going to break other stuff.
Oh yeah,
And this is smoke and mirrors designed to get you hyper focused. Like this is what I didn't understand. I didn't understand this. And again, I don't know why. Like there was a protest scheduled about this here. I didn't like. Wouldn't it be better to go somewhere else? Like go to where you need that help done. You know, that'd be like me donating to a charity to buy Colt's kids Christmas presents.
Well,
he doesn't need the help.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the help.
You know,
no, but I totally agree. I agree with
you're
that.
showing public support. So that's the thing about public support.
It's again.
It's just for public
support. I'm not mad at you for voicing your opinion, but I think if you're going to do that on the court steps of Arkansas.
I like that people do get politically motivated to at least show up though and participate civilly. That civic participation is very fundamental to a functional democracy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like when people are tear gas, you know, all that horse shit. When it becomes violent, you start breaking anything. No, don't. You got to be better than your cause.
Yeah.
You got to be the one that's participating as the adult. You need to be the adult in the room at a protest.
Yeah.
Okay? Throwing bricks and shit. If you catch, even if it's an agent provocateur,
I think
you shut that shit down immediately.
Well, even the stuff I saw. I mean, just from the protests that happened, there were a lot of them. I mean, obviously, I think that, but from what I saw, they were relative. They were calm. There was nothing crazy. I mean, the chick from Full House, I guess, got thrown around by a cop, and that was stupid.
Who?
I mean,
Kirk Cameron.
No,
Jody.
No, who was it? Was it Full House lady?
Yeah, Jody.
Yeah, whatever her name is. She got thrown. She was like, I don't know why she got thrown. She got tossed pretty good by a cop.
Bad little run after Full House. She got into drugs.
The meth.
Yeah, she got tossed around pretty
Jody
good by.
Sweeten.
Yeah, she got tossed pretty good by a police officer.
To be honest, like once this went down, I haven't got on social media. I haven't watched the news. So I am delete. That's why I'm not talking. I don't even know. I've just shut down. I think a lot of people should. I think that's one thing I will tell you is don't. If you're a business person, don't put if you're pro or against something like. Politically, you're losing 50% of your paycheck,
and I think
we're not talking about that. I
hope
here's 42 minutes. We have not supported one way or the other. On this.
That's exactly you're exactly right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think
it's a bigger issue
because I think you can have dialogues with the reason I wanted to have this dialogue is because we never once through the whole process of this said what we were for or against. But we're talking about the system that's broken that caused it to happen in the first place. And I think you can have that conversation with other people that may think differently than you. And you should have this conversation with people that think differently than you.
Find your similarities.
Because if everybody can't agree that the system is broken, it does not get fixed.
Right.
Because this, ladies and gentlemen, your elected officials, Republican and Democrat, this is just one more thing to look over here why this shit over here happens. And that's not me being a conspiracy theorist. That's just, again,
how shit really works.
That's just how it works. They have one objective to get elected. That's it.
I've been deleting people who've been saying some things. Because here's the thing. I don't really care to hear most of what you have to say if I don't think that you've put out an opinion that's educated. Like,
but no one
my time is scarce. My time is scarce. I don't want to be scrolling through people.
I tell you, I honestly haven't.
I
have not got on. I couldn't even tell you what's going on. I mean, I think that it'll ruin your day, right? It'll ruin your week. You get worked up. Honestly, there's shit that happens through the government every day that probably affects you more than Roe versus like every single day, but they don't care, right? This is
100% just look over here and
why
here's
we
the
pass.
I mean,
there's shit that's affected.
Like John said, when you zoom out, you start looking at, hey, didn't we blow up a Yemeni wedding with drones? Like, wait, why did we do that again?
Yeah.
You go,
zoom out.
What?
killed some
What?
kids.
Zoom
Like,
over
yeah.
here. So, for every Ghislaine Maxwell conspiracy theorist, she's still alive.
Yeah, 20 years in
20
prison.
years.
Yeah, but I'm saying everybody thought that, oh, it's never going to happen. She's going to be killed.
Do you think
Does
she
that give
would?
you maybe a
Do you
little bit of-
think
I
that
think-
she would have
okay, well,
if
let's
it didn't
back-
have
yeah,
so much media attention where they're like,
I
shit,
think-
now we can't kill
Well,
her?
hold on. Has she spilled the tea on anybody? She's sentenced. There's nothing she could do about it.
I don't know.
So hold
who
on.
knows?
So here's why I bring this up.
Yeah.
And it's very important that you said that. Because every conspiracy theorist who's posted about a conspiracy that never came true, you can still scroll back through their Facebook pictures and they still have them posted.
Yeah.
So it's like you just look wrong in the annals of your own history that you've created and have control over.
Yeah.
Go back,
Delete
your
your stuff.
Facebook photos.
Yeah.
If you have
Fix your
conspiracy
nonsense.
theorists, you said this was going to happen by this time and it didn't. Admit you were wrong and delete it and move on and learn from it.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Well,
Most
guys,
people don't give a shit about what you think, so don't post it anyway.
no,
Yeah,
I
Colt's right.
You know what mean?
I
That's
agree.
just my opinion. I don't give a shit what one person on my Facebook has to say about politics, about what the real estate market's going to happen, what this is going to happen. I'm so over this shit. That's why I said I honestly I can't even get on social media, and I haven't for a while. I post, so
probably
you
better for
dumbasses look at my
your
stuff,
mental
but I
health,
don't look
right?
at yours.
Yeah.
Is that
Well-
better for your mental health?
Oh, for
To say
sure.
if you-
I think it's better for you're not on there. I think you're better if you're not. on there.
Do you think for
post.
business though? Do you think that the ends justify the means overall?
I think. Well, I think.
100%.
I think again
I
for
post.
again
I don't
again for me. If you're seeing a clip of this right now run down my feed, I didn't post it. Somebody else posted it
yeah,
for
I
me.
think John. I think you really do that the right way.
I don't because I can't spend all day on this.
yeah, I think I need to move towards that model.
Yeah,
where
it's automated strictly
where
just
you're
for what it's
alive.
worth.
People see that you're there,
And that's it.
Connell Law 702 Connell for car accidents,
for all your needs.
real estate and car
That's
There
accidents.
you go. But again, guys, I'm going to close with this. I'm going to say, look, if you are listening to this, hopefully, look, spark some conversations with people about the problem that caused this, about how our politics in this country work. Because if we don't solve that, nothing else is going to matter, and it's not going to get
your
solved.
own-
We got to figure this out.
Put your own oxygen.
And
mask
guess
on.
what? Tom Hanks hit somebody's dad this weekend. How you feel about that?
And you know what's funny about this show too, John?
What's
You may
that?
not point it out all the time, but it does come from a place of love. I've never heard neither one of you guys in conversations, private or otherwise, is anything ever from a place of anger or spite. It's actually from a pretty
Not
loving
listen to me
place.
at
No,
all?
no, no.
Does he
Yeah.
not listen to me at all?
No, no,
I
no, no.
hate
No, he hates Tom Hanks. He does. There's no question.
But he, again, the mongoose is a one of one, so we can't. But most things, everything we're saying today, comes
One of
from a
God's
place of
own
love, right?
prototypes, not built for mass consumption, mass production.
If you didn't care, right, you wouldn't be out here saying these things, doing
Yeah,
these things. You,
sure.
you care, right? You want to see a better future.
Sure.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
it's why we do this. Because I mean, if you're going to move, guys, hopefully you'll tune in again next week. But if you're going to move, keep moving forward, man. That's all we can do. See you next time.
Cheers.
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.